FA Cup final this weekend, the second part of the possible treble trilogy for Man City, and it's a cracker of a final because it's a Manchester derby. Nabeed Haroon, Abby Summers join me to talk about this one. Now, let's go straight to Nabeed, who's going to just throw in a little hand grenade here. You don't believe that the treble is about to occur for Man City. Everyone else has already given it to them. You don't think it's going to be that simple?
You know those things you say off air.
No, we're always on air, Nabeed. We're always on air.
I just find both of the games fascinating. Obviously, we're talking about the FA Cup final, but people are going like the Inter Milan game's an absolute given. But Lukaku and Lautaro are so suited to winning that game. And then it's a Manchester derby, and United actually beat them in the league. They're very well suited to playing against a City team, which we are going to delve more into. I just think like people are going, they've won the treble, compare them to the treble winners. They've got two huge finals, and I know they're really, really strong and possibly the best version of Man City under Pep. But they're playing Manchester United, and they've got everything to gain. City have everything to lose, and that is a great narrative for a final.
Okay, so because that's an interesting ingredient to this, because I think on the face of it, Man City are right up there. You know, we have all these conversations every single year, whoever wins the league, in terms of who's the greatest, who's not. But the top line, Abby, is that Man City are huge favourites for this game, despite Man United having a pretty solid season. How strong do you think Man City are going into this, and how strong do you think Man United are?
Honestly, I think this is potentially the best City side I've seen. And I feel like we say this every season. We go, oh, no, this is the best City side I've seen. No, this is. I mean, just watching them this season and how they just click into gear when everybody doubted them. They thought Arsenal had the title, everything like that. I just always think you can never write City off. And I know they've got two massive games, but I'm just seeing a difference in them this season, like a different steeliness, you know, getting to that Champions League final. I just back City. I knew that they would win the league. I always felt it in my gut. Thank God, as a Spurs fan, I always knew, I trusted in them that they would get it done and over the line. And I just don't think that United are a match. I know it's a derby, first Manchester derby to actually be played in an FA Cup final as well. But I just, when I look at the two teams, I think that City are just on an unbelievable roll. I know we've had a little break because of the Premier League finishing last week, but it's no different to any other game. And I just feel that United, they've had a lot of injuries in the last kind of few months. I feel that they've, again, it could be a great season if they do win this for them, you know, picking up a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup and getting top four. But I think that they're still a long way off where they need to be, and I would be so surprised if they manage to pull something off against Manchester City.
The two games this year between them, 6-3 for Man City, and then the second one, the 2-1 with that odd goal where Rashford was clearly offside, but it wasn't kind of given. But they sort of hung in there, Man United, in that game. That was kind of during a spell where Man City were lost is too harsh a word, but they weren't kind of fully, you know, into gear. And again, Haaland, interestingly, you know, hat-trick in that first one. Second game was kind of quite subdued. They weren't able to get the ball to him. Now we fast forward to this one. When you look at Man United, we were chatting about it in terms of them feeling a bit jaded with the amount of games that they played with the Europa League. They've kind of found their feet. They have got a grit about them this year. I think whenever we've sort of doubted them, they've sort of bounced between. They get a bit too sort of giddy at the top when you go, oh, maybe we've got a Premier League title run here, and they lose their way. And then when they start to wobble a bit, they do show that steel. Coming into this game, they're going to have to show that steel because they will be the underdogs going into it. In terms of players not available, Martial is the big one for them. Is that a big one? How big of a loss is Martial for this side? Who have struggled in terms of having strikers in general? They've
basically played without a striker for the majority of the season. It's either been Weghorst, and then they played Rashford through the middle, which occasionally works and occasionally doesn't. That's an area where they have just generally struggled this season. So I actually think Ten Hag probably planned for the game without Martial. When Martial plays, they are so much better because his link-up play is outstanding. But then he's only played a handful of games this season. So they probably play Rashford through the middle, Anthony off the right, Sancho off the left. I think against City, with the amount of possession they'll keep, and the fact that Rashford playing out wide against Walker probably doesn't do anything for you. Walker can stop any winger in the world, essentially. And then on the opposite side, you've got Aki, and Pep himself said, I play 4 centre-backs to win the duels, the 1v1s. So put him through the middle. And that's, I think they put him through the middle towards the end of the game in the league, and he actually ended up scoring a winner from the middle of the pitch. So I just think, my thing with this is, right, we haven't had any narrative this season. There's been no narrative.
What do you mean?
Like, Man City have won the league, and 90% of us thought they would. even when Arsenal were ahead.
Oh, but there was a
there was a narrative.
Short-term memory. That
No, but I mean, like,
there's been a great.
Is it just because Liverpool
weren't
weren't in the narrative?
I just mean, like, in terms of like the narrative of the league, like the team that's won the league has been expected. The relegation was done a while ago. The top four, like we haven't had any drama, shall we say? And I feel like there's a bit of drama coming now.
You think it's coming? Okay.
Yeah, and I think United are well packaged to cause the drama because in the last 9 meetings between the two teams across competitions, both teams have won 4 each. And there's been 1 draw, so they are pretty evenly matched. And if there is a team that can take on City, you'd say it's Manchester United.
The derby element of it is very useful for Man United because, like, we've all been there. Whoever we support, when you are the underdog, somehow either it can be horrible because you get slapped, or you can kind of create that sort of balance there. And that's what I think Man United will be looking to do because it's happened in the past where they've been 2-0 down at half-time and come back and done stuff. I disagree with you on Rashford. I think Rashford needs to play on the left. I actually think...
Against Walker.
So I think you play Wout Weghorst, and I think you put Wout Weghorst, an attempt to put Wout Weghorst, say that 5 times, on possibly on Akanji to create that space for a diagonal run from Rashford on the counter-attack. So he starts wide, but then goes into that space because I could see Man City turning into that 3 that they do a lot of the time. And so just running in a straight line is just not going to work. But you have got Eriksen, you have got Bruno Fernandes, who have been both chief creators, but also players who can find Rashford. You basically need to create the space to, like you say, in terms of having the back 4 that Man City have and having big centre-backs winning their duels. You need someone who can win a duel. And I think Weghorst, as mediocre as he's been this season in terms of scoring goals, you can hit him and he can win some of those headers and cause an element of chaos from that. And then aside from that, you look to keep the ball and work up the pitch if you can. But I think that you need to bypass that a little bit somehow. And in terms of the weapons that Man United have, I feel like Weghorst could be a facilitator for Bruno Fernandes and for Rashford in this one.
Would you not say that if you start with Anthony and Sancho either side, the ball retention will be better in forward areas? Because normally when you play City, and this is the Haaland element, isn't it? Like if you get caught with the ball at the top, they will hit you on the counter. I think if you start with them two, I'd imagine it might even be Akanji at right back, possibly, and then Stones Diaz, possibly, and then Aki at left back.
I think they'll go Real Madrid too.
I agree.
You think so?
Yeah. I think they go. I think he's seen something there because Ake's been fantastic. I get it, but I think that there you go. That's my team. We've got 2 games to go. That team was outrageous.
Yeah.
We'll put that on the field. The experience of Akanji as well, I think, in those big games, I think would be of use. But we expect Man City to dominate. Staying on that right-hand side, if you played Anthony or you play Bruno Fernandes defensively, the problem you have maybe Bernardo Silva is probably going to make either of those guys look bad and quit. Like, do you think that's a key area of the pitch for Man United, or if not, where else do you think is a key area?
I like your idea, what you were saying about having Weghorst kind of as that kind of target.
Yeah.
And, putting defenders in, knocking it down to allow the space. I just think that City are just on some type of freakish run. I mean, I say it's freakish, they do it every single year. Yeah. But for me, they're just like, in my head, they're just like the Hulk. Like, you just can't stop them when they're like this. And they've got so much movement. Every single player, even when they don't play their first 11, their second B team makes no difference. They're still just as good. And I think that, like you mentioned, they've got 2 games to go. They can do the treble here. As much as United are going to want to stop that, and they're going to go all out to try and stop that, equally City know that they can do the treble here. They win the FA Cup, they could then go on confidence to win the Champions League the following week, and I just don't think that Pep will out-Pep it. I think he'll keep it as, like you said, maybe against Madrid. He's got a formula that's absolutely working there. Yeah,
I mean that is the thing, isn't it? Does he look to twist this a little bit? Maybe on the other side you got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's very good one-on-one. Do you play Jack Grealish up against him, or do you mix it up there?
Against Grealish will be a hell of a battle.
The one thing I wonder if Jack Grealish he often sort of dribbles inside, so they might he might be slightly obsolete. Aaron Wan-Bissaka in this one. That could be a part of it. Also, Ortega's been in goal for Man City in every game in the Cup. Does he take the risk? Does he play Ortega or does he play Ederson?
If he wants to win a treble, you play your best keeper. I think if he plays Ortega, I mean, kudos to him. Like that is a gutsy move.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, if they lose, everyone will say it's because you started Ortega, regardless of the type of goal that's scored.
Yeah.
You've got to start your best
Absolutely.
11.
Let's get to a prediction then, shall we? How do you see this one playing out? Would you like me to? Shall I go?
Yeah,
first?
you go first.
I actually think the bench is a important part of this one, because although obviously lost the last game against Brentford, made all these changes for all these players who were exhausted, who've somehow recovered from that exhaustion over the last few days. Sorry, I think it could be one where the game's already won, or it could be one where Foden or Mahrez could come on and be the difference for them. But I do see Man City doing it. I do see them doing it to 0. I see 2-0. I see Haaland. Gundogan with the first goal, Haaland with the second goal, and De Bruyne to get at least 1 assist. That is my prediction for the FA Cup final. Nabeed?
The more I think they'll win this one. I think just as an advance, I think they'll lose the Champions League final. They're going to lose one of them. If they win both, then what do I know? But I don't know. I just have a feeling in my belly that if they win this one, they'll lose the next one. If they lose this one, they'll win the next one. So for this one, I think it'll go to extra time, but I think they'll win it in extra time 2-1.
Okay. I also think it'll go to extra time, but I think it will also be 2-1. And I think Mahrez, who's just been unbelievable as well this season, across the board, every league, FA Cup, everything, he's just been outstanding for me. I don't actually think he gets the plaudits that he deserves.
Massively underrated, actually.
He's been so good. I think he's going to be really pivotal in this game. Just got a feeling about it.
Good shout, that. Okay, guys, let us know in the comments down below, what is your prediction for the Cup final?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.